And all right, take these glasses off. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for our conversation with Darius Billings, led by our esteemed chapter president, Dr. Lamar White. I am Carletta S. Hurt, your vice president of administration, and I'm going to turn it over to Dr. White.
All right, good evening, everyone, whether you're joining us live or on this recording. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Lamar White, and I serve as the president of the DC Black MBA Association. This is my second term and my third year. And the DC Black MBA Association, we serve the DC area, Virginia, Maryland, and we are dedicated to the empowerment of Blacks in our community and really shining through educational advancement and economic welfare for Black people. And that's really what our mission is. This evening, we have the distinct honor of speaking with Darius Billings of the Athlete's Foot, who's the senior director, and I will go ahead and read his bio before we get started with the conversation. So, veteran within the sneaker industry with over 20 years of experience, Darius has laid the blueprint for others with his ingenuity, creative genius, and generosity. Born in Clarksburg, West Virginia, and a proud graduate of Howard University, Darius has capitalized on his business administration and marketing degree with roles at Nike and One Basketball, and is currently the Senior Director of Product and Marketing at the Athlete's Foot USA. With his attention ever present on the pulse of streetwear culture, in 2001, Darius helped launch Davin Wheels as the Director of Marketing and Promotion, the creators of the Spinning Rims. As a leader and community outreach advocate, Darius is a proud sponsor and ambassador for the National Kicks for the City program, an initiative dedicated to providing shoes for homeless communities in the US. At this level of seniority and expertise, Darius could easily rest on his achievements to date. However, he has set his sights on expanding his impact to empower Black entrepreneurs. In 2020, Darius was inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement protests and economic disparities within the Black community to use his platform to do even more good. Darius's passion to launch the START program, Strategic African American Retail Track, to build Black generational wealth, legacy, and community is yet another indication that Darius is ready, poised, and able to move the culture forward. Again, good evening, Darius. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining. So let's jump right in, Darius. You are successful in your industry. How did you choose this industry? How did you get into it? And do you like it? Is this where you see yourself in the future?
Yeah, so one, love the industry. Who couldn't love the sneaker industry, right? But I got into it really going to Howard University. You know, Howard has the best kind of career fairs. I know they did when I was there. All the Fortune 500 companies would come there to recruit. And actually at the time, all throughout college, I always worked in retail. I worked at Pentagon City, then I worked down in Georgetown at Banana Republic. So Nike was actually at one of the career fairs. And I, talked to them just like pretty much every student. And, one of the ladies there recruiting, she was in charge of visual merchandising and had all the visual merchandisers, managed all the visual merchandisers for Nike on the East Coast. So talked to her just for a little while. And then, after that, end up going to class and then going to work, because had to work and go to school. So knowing that Georgetown, was a tourist area where, if you come to DC, a lot of people just go down to Georgetown. At least that's how it was back then. It was getting ready to close. And I was, folding and doing merchandising and everything to get ready to close up for the evening at Banana Republic. And then the lady and two other ladies from Nike actually came into Banana Republic. And the one came right up to me and said, "Do you remember me from today?" And I was like, "Of course I remember you, from today." So from that point on, we kept in contact. She actually had me shadow, because I was still in school. She actually had me shadow the local visual merchandiser for Nike. So I would shadow her and kind of help her out within the DC, Maryland area while I was still in school. And then once I graduated, there was a job for me. So that's how I really got into the industry, whether it's right place, right time, just the hard work, working, while you're in school as well. It's just, I think all those things combined kind of helped me get into this industry.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. And I'm going to ask you a fun question, and I think I already know your answer before I jump into the next one. Howard or Hampton, the real HU?
Come on, man.
I had to go there. Needed to hear you say it.
You know it's all about Howard.
Cool. We have a very strong relationship with both Howard and Hampton, but an especially strong relationship with Howard in the Black MBA. So
yeah. I mean, it's right now. It's all about HBCU love, no matter which school you attended.
Absolutely. Second question for you: in navigating the ladder to your current position as being the senior director, what are 2 to 3 things or any insights that you can share, or people that help make your success possible?
Really, I mean, I go back to hard work and humility. I think those, and I guess it's all H's, honesty as well. So I think those 3 kind of H's kind of helped me propel to where I'm at today. Being humble and being kind of gracious for, what you have and what you're, able to do. A lot of people don't have the opportunity to, go to school or, work in the industry that they have a passion for or love or actually went to school for. So I'm very gracious and humble by everything that's, been, I guess, given to me, or I've earned a lot and earned everything, through the hard work. But I think those are kind of like the 3 things that, have helped me propel. It's just that hard work, humility, and honesty.
Got it. And you put in that hard work and you've gotten to the level of success that you're at. And you don't just keep it to yourself. You've been reaching back and giving to the community. So I want to ask you, can you tell me more about the Kicks for the City program? What was your inspiration behind that? Tell us more about that program.
Well, the crazy thing, so I found Kicks for the, it was a nonprofit organization. Unfortunately, since COVID, they no longer operate. But it was a group of young people, young Black people, and one of their mantras was a younger generation, changing the face of philanthropy. Because when you think philanthropy, you think of, oh, you got to be rich and white or whatever, or just rich, and that's not the case. So I wanted to find something more on a national level for the Athlete's Foot, because we are a franchise model. So our franchisees definitely give back to the community because they're a fabric of their community where their stores are and everything. But I wanted to find something from a national standpoint that we could get behind, and something that you're not just, giving money to, a charity, but something that we can really help and grow and be hands-on. So a friend of mine, Howard alum, great friend of mine, he was doing like events and things of that nature in New York. And he had posted something on his Instagram promoting this event, and it was a charity event, and it was called Kicks for the City. And I thought the logo was dope and it was nice. I was like, so I immediately called him. I was like, yo, what is this event? Because it was it was a shoe drive they were doing at the 40/40 Club, and where you can donate shoes and all this stuff. And that's where the actual event was. So he told me about it. I was like, I need to meet these guys because that's right up our alley. So Kicks for the City, we partnered with them in 2015, was our first partnership. And, in 7 cities, we would collect used or slightly worn or new shoes. And then those set on, it was all the week leading up, or the month of November. But right before Thanksgiving, in all 7 cities, we would partner with homeless shelters in those 7 cities to have a distribution day to distribute that product. So we did that. That was the main purpose. But then we also did a fundraising event in Chicago called Sneaker Ball, where that was more fundraising, get noticed for the organization. But it was just a good vibe, good young people just doing the right thing. No one was, getting paid. Everything was like volunteer. And, it was sad that, they kind of dismantled to find their own individual paths and careers. But that was definitely a great organization to be a part of, while it lasted, for sure.
Got it. Thank you so much. And I'm gonna veer off script a little bit and put you on the spot with this next question.
Okay.
So I recently had the pleasure of interviewing Michael Tubbs, who was the youngest mayor of Stockton, California. And
okay.
In reading about his history, he had actually written an award-winning essay that talked about mistakes his parents made and how he overcame those mistakes. And so one of the questions I asked him, and I want to ask you, what are some of the things in inspiring the next generation of youth that are going to follow in your footsteps that you have done and maybe regret it, or that you probably wouldn't want folks to do? What is something to show your vulnerable side that you would probably advise your kids or young ones not to do as they're aiming for the type of success that you've attained?
One, even though I went to Howard University and I got through it, I wasn't the best student. So I think, looking back, and it was really the first kind of year and a half, getting there and looking back, I think really taking advantage of that opportunity. Like I said earlier, there's not a lot of people that get those type of chances to, even go to college or even one as prestigious as Howard University. So, never take for granted kind of your, what you have, and take full advantage of all the opportunities that are in front of you, which, I came out good on the good, but it could have been something that I would have regretted, my entire life, of not taking full advantage of the opportunities that I had.
Got it. Cool. And you've again attained a very high level of success, but you also have a family. We were talking earlier that you have some kids.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that work-life balance? Because I'm sure your job is very demanding and very taxing, but you also want to spend that quality time with your family. You maintain your mental health given everything that's going on. What advice would you give around that?
Nah, families first.
Absolutely.
Families first, and you work hard to really provide and be able to give your children things that you didn't have growing up, and make it life easier for them. But all they want you to do is be there, and I just found, like, for me, I do work hard, but I turn it off. I have 2 phones. I have a personal mobile phone and I have a work mobile phone. On the weekends, the work phone is in the drawer. Now I don't even touch it. Even at night when I get home, I don't even look at it. I put it on silent and put it in a drawer. And if someone texts me, calls me, they'll get it that next, they'll get a response the next morning.
Yeah.
But no, family is super important. Friends are super important. We've got a lot of friends that are like family. So spending that time, because you don't get that back, so that's, the advice is always spend time. Family is first, no matter what. Taking time for yourself, like you said, from a mental standpoint, taking time for yourself is very, you need that as well. So if you do have PTO days and all that stuff, you've earned those, take them, don't sit there and try to like take those days. And, I spent some time in Europe working, and minimum, they take 2 weeks, and that's minimum. Where that's the maximum for us in the US is taking 2 weeks off. It's like that's unheard of. That's the minimum for them over there, because you have to decompress and then come back fresh. So it's like I learned to, really balance that and make sure that, whatever I do and all the decisions, it's my family and mental health and well-being comes before any job.
Got it. And yeah, drawing those clear lines, very important. And you talked about also maintaining the health and well-being of your family. And so my next question, again, putting you on the spot, in your bio, one of the things that really inspired you to start the START movement, the Strategic African American Retail Track, which we'll talk about soon, was the whole Black Lives Matter movement.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, in trying to maintain that kind of like mental health and stability for your kids, have you spoke to them about what's going on, and what did that conversation look like, if you're able to share that with us? And then also from the corporate side, because you are a senior leader in your company, like how do you approach that conversation with your Black employees?
Yeah, so like, well, we're from a family. I'll start with the family. My son is 6, or during that time he was 5, and he's very attentive, and so we talked to him a lot about things, and just it was more about how he should be, and how you should treat people. And so it wasn't just about, it wasn't just about the Black Lives movement. It was more about just an overall how people should treat each other, and how to really, I think right now I think he's too young for me to have that talk about the police situation and how to handle yourself during those situations. So it was really, on that standpoint, was really just about who you are as a person and how we should treat people. With my daughter, who's 18 now, and she's a freshman in college, she's already like into it, and we really didn't have a strong talk, but because I asked her, and I follow her on social media, and she's so like into it, and not just about Black Lives Matter. It was Black Lives Matter. Mental health is a big. She had friends that talked about suicide and things like. So she's always an advocate and been like that. So to me, it was just me being supportive of her. And if she had anything, any questions or anything, she knows she can always come to me. But she probably has more knowledge than I do, honestly, and more thought. This, that young generation is, they're rebels.
They're in tune, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then,
what about?
Yeah, then from work, we're a small group, because like I said, we are a franchise organization. So our office is really only consists of 6 people, and we just manage the franchise community within the U.S. and the Caribbean. So with those 6 people at the time, there have been some changes, but half was African American, more than half is female, and more than half was born outside of there was 2 like born outside of the U.S. So they were kind of so we really had a diverse group, even though there was only 6 of us, between race and gender. So the conversations there was really me introducing the START program and saying, I have to do something. I have to use my platform in some shape or form. So when I, put the idea together, I presented it to my boss at the time, who, white male, and I said, this is what we need to do, because we are a global company as well. So the global headquarters is based in Amsterdam, and they were even, over in Europe and other countries, it was everywhere, right? And they were marching and speaking out, and I had colleagues from Europe reaching out to me more than some of my Caucasian friends that I grew up with here in the U.S. Just being supportive and all of that, where a lot of people's true colors came out during that time period. So it got to a point where our global team, and they did it out of it, I know their hearts, but they were doing global posts and things of that nature on the Athlete's Foot global page, and some of it was good, but then it got to a point where they had sent me some creative around Juneteenth and said, hey, we're gonna post this. And I said, no. I said, stop. Like, I'm not posting anything else on behalf of the Athlete's Foot until we really figure out what we're gonna do. Like, doing all these posts, no one's ever, celebrated Juneteenth before, or, from a business standpoint, like retail and all that's like, don't do that. This is not, so I did have those discussions, and from a global standpoint, they all supported and agreed, and I knew where their hearts are. It wasn't anything where it was a bandwagon type thing. It was like, just put a pause on everything until I figure out exactly what we're going to do to make real change.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things, even so I worked for Google, and our Black community spoke up and they said, hey, it's just too much. We need a break from some of it. So I totally understand what you're getting at. Focusing back on you, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? You've made it to this level of success. What is next for Darius?
Man, it's crazy because the Athlete Foot is going through some changes and some new ownership changes, and there's a lot of, like, this industry is so complex. We can sit here and talk about it all night, and you guys would be like, I never knew that was like that, in the sneaker world. But there are some bigger opportunities for me within the Athlete's Foot. We actually have a new global ownership from about 3 months ago.
Okay.
So I have our actually new leadership here in the U.S., or a new boss here in the U.S. as well. But there's some things that the new ownership is looking at to acquire other businesses and other retail businesses. So I'm a part of that. I actually have to go to a meeting on Monday to actually meet this new business, this new retail that might come under one umbrella. So then I would manage the marketing for that, and all the people, there would fall under me on the marketing side. So right now there's some options there, but always, work on different projects on my own as well, or with friends, and different kind of business opportunities there. There's something that could come to fruition real soon. And we'll be working with, investors and things of that nature. So it could be where, I'm making a change still in the industry, but, making a little change where I have more ownership, because today, and that's one of the things about the START program too, right? It's about Black ownership. And, right now, I work for a corporation. So.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And my next question for you, in the sneaker industry, we hear a lot more so about a lot of the celebrities that bring out their sneakers. One, in your opinion, is there enough, or is there a lot of Black representation in terms of designers in this industry? And then two, is it easy for Blacks to get into this industry and kind of make a career for themselves as a designer in the sneaker industry?
As a designer, I don't think there's a lot. Just from my personal knowledge, and of course I don't know who's behind the doors and in all these companies. But when you think of the ones that are that have done some stuff, it's been more on the collab, the collaboration side of it, rather than actually designing. But there is room. There are some organizations out there that's helping Black designers get more light. It's an organization called Pensole, Pensole. Brother who started that, he is a former Brand Jordan guy, and he started Pensole, and he gets a lot of support from big companies and things of that nature. But he's really started an academy for Black designers and really to get their designs and stuff out there. So no, there's not enough. There is some there, but there's not enough. And the pathway, it is not easy because there is a lot of competition out there. But no, it's not easy. Right now, you do have all these brands, and that's, it's sad that it took the Black Lives Matter movement to, open things up. But a lot of brands are starting to work more and look more and support more Black entrepreneurship, and, whether it's bringing, even from a retail standpoint, bringing in more Black designers into their stores, or, hiring more Black employees, and actually not just, on the lower level, but, on that executive level. And that was part of START as well. It's like, there is a lack of Black representation, not just from an ownership standpoint, but also in the industry at some of these big companies. And the culture, the sneaker culture was built on Black culture,
Right.
So.
Got it. And now, so from the business side of it, so kind of like following in your footsteps, what advice or what kind of credentials would someone need to get into this industry and kind of become the next Darius Billings?
Yeah, no, it's one, just have a passion for it, but then put yourself in different places and opportunities where, whether from a marketing like I went to school for marketing, got my degree in marketing, and that's what I've been doing. I worked in retail while I was through school. Internships are always great. Just networking, it's a little easier now with social media and all that stuff. it's a little easier to network. And, that's really it. I don't think there's like an exact blueprint. But as long as, you have a passion for what you want to do, just put yourself in those places to, elevate, to be seen, to really showcase your talents and what you want to do. And, a lot of, really for the young, like, junior high school kids, it's like really exposing them to everything that's, in this industry, because you have a kid that, he might want to be a lawyer, but he loves sneakers, all that. Like, you still can go to law school. Nike has lawyers, Adidas has lawyers, like they have general counsel that, so there's accounting, there's all types of ways. It's just not footwear design, there's marketing, there's visual merchandising, there's sport marketing. There's all different types of facets within this industry. So, that's what, we definitely want to kind of expose through the START program as well, and educate, that younger generation that, there's pathways to do something that you love, but also through education and you don't have to, aspire to be the next rapper or the next NBA player or football player, because we know that, and it's great to have that, passion, and but it's definitely a small percentage of, people that make it to the NBA and NFL and become a successful rapper. But like I tell, when we talk about NBA, like I've gone to every NBA All-Star weekend, since the year 2000, and I've, been in company with all these guys, and that's where it's like the humility and like an NBA player is a regular person that, he just made it to the NBA, right? Yeah. So, I've been able to be in that same kind of light, of course, without the millions, but it's fun. It's a great industry, the NFL being able to do all types of stuff, like NFL films, like if you're into filmmaking. So there's all these different pathways that you can go within this kind of industry that I think the younger generation just don't know.
Got it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you some fun questions now to get to know you a little bit better. So I'm going to give you some choices and let us know what you prefer.
Okay.
Thanksgiving or Christmas, and why?
Oh man, it's tough because right now I'm thinking about that Thanksgiving meal I just had and how good it was. You know what? It's Christmas, and it's because, me having children, it's seeing the joy in their face, on that day, on that morning, and the excitement. I think I like the Christmas kind of spirit more than Thanksgiving.
Okay. And this one, tread lightly. Rihanna or Beyonce?
Rihanna or Beyonce? I know that beehive is serious. Yeah, that beehive is serious. So I gotta, you know what? I'm gonna have to go with Beyonce.
Oh man, I gotta cut this call because I'm from Barbados, where Rihanna.
Oh, you are?
No, I'm kidding. I am from Barbados, and I actually went to school with Rihanna.
Oh, nice. Well, congratulations. She just became, what did she just?
A national hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
You're gonna stick with Beyonce. All right, we'll take that. We'll take that for now.
So all right, so you got Beyonce and Jay, you got Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. So, A$AP Rocky is definitely a influencer in this industry. But I just have to Beyonce right now.
All right. Cake or cookies?
Cake.
Cake. All right.
Red Velvet specifically.
Okay. Beach or mountains?
I'm gonna have to go with the beach. I grew up in the mountains. If you saw, I was from West Virginia.
No more mountains.
I haven't gone back since high school.
All right. Beer or wine?
You know what? I'm a beer guy.
Beer guy. All right.
Yeah, I like craft beers.
Chicken or turkey?
Chicken or turkey? Chicken.
Chicken. All
Yeah.
right. Winter, spring, summer, or fall?
Woo, that's a tough one. Because you can get all that. I live in Atlanta, so you can get all that in one day. It's like crazy, but I'm gonna have to go with fall.
Okay.
I love wearing the clothes from fall. Even though I said I like the beach, but just the clothing in fall, is a lot better from a style standpoint than summer gear.
Got it. All right. And my last question to you in the fun category, and this one you have to tread lightly as well.
All right.
Apple or Android?
Oh, Apple.
Oh my goodness. Again, we got to end this conversation.
Man.
Now, I'm an Apple guy too, but I work for Google, so I should be partial to Android, but complete Apple guy.
Man.
All right, my last serious question for you. You mentioned ASAP Rocky as being one of the influencers of our time. Who are some of those folks that are influential in your life?
In my life?
Yeah.
I don't think it wouldn't be any celebrities.
Okay.
They do have an influence in this industry that I'm in, but like for me personally, my brother, he's 2 years older than me, and he's the one that kind of created a path for me. I followed him to how he's the one who went to Howard. Like he always knew what he wanted to do, where he wanted to go, what his career was going to be. And he did it. I mean, even from high school, probably junior high, he always knew he wanted to be an electrical engineer.
Okay.
So that's even through high school, he was in organizations around engineering, like Black engineers and all of that stuff. So I really followed, like Howard was the only school I applied to. So if I didn't get in, I didn't know what I was going to do because it was like, that's where he was. So I think he's my biggest kind of inspiration and helped me, build that pathway. And he made it easy for me, and he was an inspiration,
Cool. All right, thanks for that. So now I'll open it up and see if there's anyone from the audience that has any questions for Darius. Anyone from the audience, you can feel free to unmute your mic and ask any questions you have.
Hi, Darius. This is Troy.
Hey, Troy.
So knowing what you know now, is there anything that you have done, anything that you would do differently from when you first started out?
Yeah. I probably would have stayed at Nike just a little longer. So I started like my career with Nike. I probably would have stayed with them a little longer. I wish I could have stayed with them a little longer. I ended up leaving to go to N1 basketball because at the time I felt that I had more to give. Being an entry level at Nike, you're just a number, right? And I'm all about, growing and at the time student loans were kicking in and all of that stuff. And they didn't pay well, from an entry level standpoint. And I thought that I could, offer more to a company. And one, being new, fresh, I think I was employee number 30. We end up getting number 2 in basketball behind Nike. So we, beat Adidas and Reebok and all those other brands. And it was a great time and great experience. but I wish I would have stayed a little longer with Nike to get, kind of more experience there with that brand. Not to say I would want to, have my whole career at Nike, but really as my first job, staying with them longer than I did.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from the audience? Any other questions? Going once, going twice. Any last words, Darius? For our members watching, again, we're an organization that we love to see Black people like you succeeding and doing big things in the community and reaching back and giving back to the community. And that's what we are focused on in our organization. We love to go back into the community and give to folks. Next week, we're going to be doing a toy drive. We've done, for Thanksgiving, we did a food drive, lots of community service. Any last words you have kind of inspiration for our members that are here and that will watch this later?
My motto is love the life you live the life you love, which actually is a Bob Marley quote. I have a tattoo on my arm, and all that. So, again, when it comes to family and friends and life, I think this period and, with Black Lives Matter and then jumping right into COVID, really opened a lot of people's eyes up to what's important in life. And that is truly family. Your work is going to be there. So you can leave it there. It's not going anywhere. But really spend time with your loved ones and live life, to the fullest and enjoy it and take time for yourself. Because mental health and, like you said, and physical, like it's real. And we all need to recognize and take care of yourself. I actually had a meeting, right when I first started Launch Start with Joe Handy, president, CEO, and he is a speaker head. He was putting me up on game on some stuff. So I definitely love your guys' organization and what you're doing. DC is always, a second home to me. So that's why I was, glad that Carletta reached out and, was definitely happy to be a part of this.
Cool. Well, Darius, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I want to wish you continued success. And I know you said you have some big things coming. So I hope when those start to materialize, you come back and tell us about that to inspire more of our members. Want to wish you happy holidays to you and your loved ones and your family. And to all of our members here as well, definitely want to thank you for joining and wish you all happy holidays as well. And
really, I'm sorry, Lamar. Really, I just want to say publicly, thank you to Darius. I literally stalked him on LinkedIn. He responded right away, and just thankful for his willingness to reach out and give back, not knowing me at all. I read about him in this article that a friend of mine did. His name is Curtis Bunn. And I was just blown away with the whole conversation around the industry. Yeah, I know Curtis. That's how I found you. And so,
well, Curtis is my brother-in-law, actually.
Get the freak out of town.
Yeah, so his wife and my wife are sisters.
Get out of, oh, that's so nice. Okay, so I know Curtis from way back when he just started doing book club stuff. We were just out there grinding with no money.
Yeah.
So, but I respect Curtis, and he posted on LinkedIn. I read it and I was like, wow. And I read about Darius and thought, let me just reach out and see. So some of my students, I'm a high school counselor on the line, and they have a lot of interest in the industry.
Yeah.
But just want to say thank you. Just thank you for being here and being present and being so open to share your story. So just so y'all know, Darius walks the talk. He did not know me, reached out, and was responsive, and has been very open and generous with his time. So just thank you again for being here.
Yeah, anytime.
thank you so much. Cool.
Yeah.
And again, thank you all for joining, and happy holidays and all the best for 2022 to everyone.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Bye.